So in most cases you would hear that's why fitness trainers or even persons who are really seasoned in the gym, they would say stuff like 3 sets of 10 or 3 rounds of 10. Because when it comes to resistance training, when it comes to muscle groups in particular, they grow through repetition. So by hitting that muscle group repetitively, ensuring that the mechanics are in the form or in the correct place, and that you're correctly hitting that muscle group in a repetitive state, as I said, hypertrophy, also known as muscle group, will eventually happen. But as I said previously, what we have to ensure is that, yes, we do want to ensure that we adequately challenge that muscle group, but we have to understand that overtraining is real. So there is such a thing as too much. So overtraining can not only be doing too much in the session, but it could be working biceps on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and not giving those biceps an adequate amount of time to recover. Because what we have to understand is that, yes, we want to challenge our muscle groups, but what we also have to do, we have to give our muscle groups an adequate amount of time to rest, okay? And that's very, very important when it comes to this process, okay? And so, and so it can be as simple when it comes to resistance training and targeting those muscle groups. It doesn't have to necessarily be a gym. But however, when it comes to resistance training, I would say before starting these movements by yourself, get advice and get guidance from a certified and trained fitness professional to show you the correct ways to do these movements. But a lot of the resistance training exercises, especially for biceps, triceps, and shoulders, they can be done from the comfort of your home. They can be done from your bedroom, all right? Once you have the right equipment, once you have dumbbells, and even I've seen instances where clients who don't even have dumbbells, they go as far as, for clients who don't have dumbbells, they go as far as using stuff like water bottles, all right? So that is also an option, okay? That's also an option for it as well. But what we just want to do is we want to ensure that we adequately challenge. The background. Muscle group. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, excellent. Yep. So that's when it comes to that. So challenging each muscle group. Very good. All right, so that's resistance. So for a balanced physical activity plan, we said we need cardio. Cardio is excellent for the heart. We need resistance training, sculpting and toning those muscles so a hypertrophy muscle group can happen. And then the large variable that needs to be, two variables that need to be present are flexibility, also known as stretching, and recovery. So flexibility. Prior to each session, we need to ensure that we prepare our bodies for the actual workout session. So let's say if you're doing a leg day, your warm-up and your stretch needs to cater and prepare your body for the leg session. So that warm-up and that stretch should not be preparing your back solely. The primary focus of that warm-up and stretch should be preparing your legs to reduce the chances of injury and also to ensure that those legs can get a little bit warm and so that the blood can get pumping towards those muscle groups, okay? So flexibility and stretching is very important, not only but mainly and precisely from an injury standpoint. Most injuries can be prevented if persons just ensure that they do a proper stretch and a proper warm-up at the start of the session, and don't forget at the end. And as we talked about before, recovery is very important when it comes to this process, all right? We need to ensure that we give our bodies an adequate amount of time to recover, even outside that 7 to 8 hours, all right? Even outside of that, the 7 to 8 hours of sleep daily. But as the example that I used previously when it came to your biceps, giving your biceps and the different muscle groups an adequate amount of time to recover and to grow, okay? So at this point, this is pretty much everything that you need to know when it comes to physical activity. As I said, my recommendation is more so for general populations, so for persons who just want to live healthier, who want to get to a healthy BMI. When it comes to specializations of bulking, sports medicine, of course, has a different ball game. But for anyone right now, let's say you're within the overweight BMI class, or you're in obese class 1 or obese class 2 or obese class 3 BMI class, and you just want to get a good understanding of what I need to do to be more active and to have a holistic and a well-balanced physical activity plan, then that just took care of it. So remember, one more time, cardio, resistance, flexibility, and recovery. All right, excellent. So we're going to go to the next portion, all right, the powerful one, all right, what takes up pretty much all of the focus and it takes all of the power when it comes to the health improvement. So let's say if you have a goal of 20, 30, 40 pounds before, 30, 40 pounds before the end of the year is a little bit realistic. Let's be let's be a little bit more realistic. But let's say something like maybe 15 or 20. That 15 or 20 pounds, at least 60 to 70% of that is going to will be determined. The achievement of that will be determined according to what you eat. Simple as that. Physical activity will only take up 20 to 30% of that focus. So if you want to achieve that goal, you're going to really make some changes when it comes to your diet. And the next slides that are coming up are pretty much going to tell you exactly what your diet should include. Okay, excellent. So of course, it needs to be a balanced diet. But if we specialize a little bit more, for my clients, what I recommend is I recommend a rule step system. There are like 12 main rules that should be present for a well-balanced, good nutrition program, good nutrition structure. And so these, here they are. All right, and so firstly, the 5 meals per day concept. So what we need to understand is that the mindset of eating 1 or 2 meals is a thing of the past. All right, what we want to do is we want to eat more, but in smaller portions. And those meals need to be so small that we become hungry every 2 to 3 hours. All right, and then what's going to happen is that your body's going to get so accustomed to having food at such a regular basis. Then what is going to happen is just as soon as it gets it, it's going to break it down. And as a result, your metabolism is going to be revved up. It's almost, and if what I try to do as much as possible for my clients to make it a little bit more relatable, I try to find real life examples for them to understand it a little bit better. It's almost, I know for this audience, a lot of you might not be working right now, but for the persons, let's say if you have a summer job, if you have a summer job and you're being paid weekly, let's say $150, $210 a week, you would be a little bit more likely to spend a little bit more freely that full $210, that's in a 5-7 day span, mainly for the fact that you know you have another paycheck coming up in the next 7 days. But if you knew that you're only going to be paid once a month, so let's say if you're working a summer program, you're only going to be paid at the end of the 4 weeks or at the start of the 4 weeks. You're going to do everything in your power to make that money last because you know you're not going to get paid for another 30 days. It's the exact same thing when it comes to the body. When the body realizes that, okay, that I'm only getting 1 or 2 meals daily, and these meals are very small, what the body is actually going to do is it's going to hold on to the food, and you're going to enter into something what is known as starvation mode. So what we want to do is instead of saying that, oh, I'm going to lose weight by having 1 or 2 meals within the day, instead what we want to train our bodies to understand is that we want to eat more, but in smaller portions. And what we want to do is we want to be careful with the choices in those meals. Okay. And also we want to apply things like the interval decline effect. So we want to have the heavier meals within the early parts of the day, lighter meals in the lighter parts of the day. I'm sure that many of you probably heard the phrase before of your parents saying, eat breakfast like a king and dinner like a pauper. So there's a lot of truth to that because you have more energy in the earlier parts of the day. And as you go through the day, you have less energy. So when you have more energy is when you should have more food. Makes perfect sense. Good. And now when it comes to the 5 meals, additionally, those 5 meals need to be balanced. So in biology, I'm sure we heard of carbohydrates. I'm sure we heard of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. All right, so I'm sure we heard of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and so there's a lot of power when it comes to them. Carbohydrates provides the body with energy. Protein replenishes and restores the body's muscles, so it's needed for pretty much growth. And fat is being used as a second source of energy, so it's almost like a backup generator. And we've seen the power in that with a lot of diet forms known as Atkins and keto, all right, where the body has been trained and adjusted and almost forced to use fat as its main source of energy. Okay, good. And for those different categories, carbohydrates in particular, the main thing I'll say is let's try to stay away from the white stuff, so the white bread, the white pasta, the white bagel, the white rice, the white products, and replace them with the complex carbohydrates, the whole grain and whole wheat products is my recommendation when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to protein, let's stay away from the red. Let's have more of the white. It's kind of ironic because the previous one I just said, just stay away from the white. But when it comes to protein, let's try to embrace a little bit more of the white, like the chicken, turkey, and fish, mainly for the fact that they don't take as much time to break down. All right. and they're more conducive to a fast metabolism, mainly for the fact that they can break down even quicker. And if you want to take on the challenge, but still be mindful of the options in the Bahamas, let's have more plant protein options. But what I would suggest is that mainly for the fact of scarcity being real in the Bahamas, having more of a mixed diet. So you can try plant protein in the vegan diet, but let's still try to mix it with some white meat protein options. So it could even be pescatarian, where we only focus on fish and on some plant protein options. Okay, excellent. So yeah, the 21-day challenge. So it actually takes 21 days to start and to break a habit. So what I would suggest is that try to challenge yourself to eat clean and to follow all of these tips for a minimum of 21 days. Okay. When it comes to dairy, number 7, what we want to do is we want to be careful with the sodium. We want to be careful with the fat. All right. So if you can go as far, if you do not purchase your grocery, let's say your parents purchase your grocery, what you want to do is you want to ask them to look at the nutrition facts label before they pick up anything, before they select anything, and really read those labels to see how much sodium, how much fat is actually in the item. Okay. But of dairy, let's say in the cheese in particular, and even other items, because too much sodium, too much fat is a serious problem when it comes to the body. For the seasons, we want to use more herbs and spices. So thyme, oregano, cilantro, mint leaves, bay leaves. We want to try that. Good. And when it comes to the dressings, the lighter is always the better. So that's enough about solids. Now, solids are very important, but more than 60% of the body is made up of water. So you need to ensure that you're drinking enough water as you follow all of these different stuff. So on days with regular activity, 64 ounces is fine. But days with more activity, let's say you're active, let's say you do soccer, you do basketball, you do track and field. For the fact that you're taking so much water out of your system, I would recommend drinking more water. All right, going above that allotment. Okay. Also, this year, if you're exposing your body, let's say you're an athlete and you're taking supplements with caffeine. Caffeine actually takes water out of your system. So that's another reason that we need to add more water into our diets. All right. Also, additionally, what we need to be mindful of, and also, let's say if you do a lot of cramming, so you have to drink a lot of coffee. As I said, caffeine takes a lot of water out of your system. So all of these are reasons why we need to drink more water. We need to replenish our electrolytes additionally too, and understanding that the main electrolytes that the body needs to thrive can only come that can thrive cannot come from water, can only come from stuff like calcium, potassium, and even when it comes to sodium, yes, too much sodium in your diet is a problem, but you need a certain amount of sodium to survive because it actually keeps water in. So it always needs to be a balance, and all of these different things is what we need to be mindful of when it comes to practicing good nutrition. And lastly, Google is pretty effective for this one. Know your BMI and your BMRs. All right. So your body mass index, which class you're currently in. If you're at a good weight for your height, age, and gender. If you're within the overweight range, obese class 1 range, obese class 2, obese class 3, and also find out. You can type it very easily on Google how to calculate my BMI or what is my basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate pretty much deals with your calorie allotment daily. So we want to know how many calories you're allotted. That's very powerful. And we want to know our body mass index, because what I often tell the clients for body mass index in particular, it's almost like the probability of rain. So I'd say the overweight range, if you're within that overweight range, 25 to 30, the chances of rain coming, as I say, 10, 15, 20%. If you're in obese class 1, the chances of rain coming, let's say, is 30 to 40%. Obese class 2, 50 to 60, and then obese class 3, 60, 70, 80%, and more than likely is going to rain. And what I'm using in comparison for the rain is a chronic disease. So if you're in the high class of the BMI, let's say overweight, obese class 1, obese class 2, obese class 3, the chances of you acquiring some type of chronic disease, metabolic syndrome, let's say type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, hypertension are very high. And that's why in most cases, when persons are within those spirits and in those areas, in most cases, they have at least one chronic disease. One. So if we are in that class, we really need to do something about it. A lot of persons say that, oh, I don't want to be thin, or I like being thin. But what we should want to do, even though I'm all for loving who you are and accepting who you are, but what we all should want to do and what we all should strive to do is to be healthy. And what we have to do is we have to understand that what will, I wouldn't say guarantee, because of course you could pass away any day, but what would increase our chances of longevity of living longer. So understand that your body was designed to function at a healthy BMI. Your body was not designed to function at obese class 1, obese class 2, obese class 3. So when you put that type of strain on your body, your own problems are going to come up. You're going to run into some type of problems. Okay? Excellent. So thank you all so much. I hope my presentation wasn't too long. And I see I have some lovely questions there. If I have any others, during this time, I have no problem answering them. So how does intermittent fasting go? So when it comes to intermittent fasting, there's actually a number of different types. Often what I do is that for my clients, intermittent fasting, in my opinion, is not really a long-term or permanent thing. So it's not a temporary fix, but it's I'll say it's something worth trying or experimenting, or something to keep your body, keep yourself excited when it comes to that health improvement journey. But in my opinion, when it comes to intermittent fasting, I don't really feel as if it fits the criteria of a lifestyle, mainly for the fact that sustainability is very hard for it to sustain itself. And also, if we go back to the start of my presentation when we talked about our metabolism, but if you guys, I don't know if you guys heard at the start of my presentation when I was talking about my clients, with one of my clients, what I love is that at pretty much all of the conferences, summits that I go to now, they often talk about once the diet form is safe, it keeps the client excited, then that's the best diet form for that client. So if intermittent fasting helps you get at a healthy BMI, and it's not like those other diet forms, that encourages a lot of saturated fat, a lot of trans fat, a lot of sugar, and all of those other stuff. So it's not that bad. So if it worked for you, then keep doing it. And then the next one is okay, good. I'm mostly plant-based because my system, okay. All right, so when it comes to yours, I'm pretty certain that a doctor or physician recommended that, correct? For okay. So as I said at the start, so I'm a certified personal trainer, group fitness instructor, corrective exercise specialist. But when it comes to like a specialized condition, so in an instance where your body is having problems digesting animal protein, if you were a client of mine, I would have automatically referred you because that's my specialty. But the fact that that doctor who specializes in it recommended it for you, that you stay away from animal protein, then of course that's what we have to do. Yeah, that's what we have to do. So that's perfectly fine. Plant protein, the only thing what I'd say is when it comes to your plant protein options, try to get in as many as possible and try to keep it as mixed as possible as well. Okay? So yeah, because the essential amino acids that the body cannot manufacture for itself in most cases is found in animal protein. So in order to get that in plant protein, you have to add a lot of basics. So once you're ensuring that you incorporate as much plant protein within your diet, you should be good. Okay, excellent. Understood. What about processed plant proteins? Beyond meat. Okay, beyond meat. Well, honestly, I feel like the more options, the better. Of course, the more organic and the less processed, the better as well. But in a lot of cases, what I often look for when it comes, especially lifestyle plans, you sound as if for plant protein, that's your new lifestyle. What we want you to do is we want you to stay on that as long as possible. So you need options. So what I would say is you can limit the Beyond Meat burger, and all of the others, but still as much as possible, try to get as many organic plant protein options as possible. Okay. Excellent. Any additional questions? Excellent. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you all so much for having me. All right. I hope I wasn't too long-winded. I tried to be as straight to the point as possible. Once again, it was an absolute pleasure, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you all so much.
Good evening to all. Thank you so much, Tarentee. What a riveting presentation. This has been what Stefan yesterday termed our Health and Wellness Day, because we had Nathan Sweeting start us off earlier today. with a talk about health and wellness. And we're so excited that you were able to join us this evening. My name is Sandina Neely from the Division of Youth with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. And we want to thank everyone who has joined us this evening for the presentation. And we want to thank you, Tarentee, for your partnership with us. And we know that Cardioblast Experience is offering prizes. Are we giving out a prize this evening, Stefan? I think we want to find a way to give out a prize. Have you given out a prizes yet, Tarentee, or you want to find a way for us to give out a prize?
Yeah, definitely. You guys, I give you guys, yes. I have no problem with that. Whatever way you guys feel is the most fitting, that's perfectly fine.
Certainly. So I think for us to be able to give this prize away, well, we want to give one prize away. If we can have someone, I don't think it's still on the screen, but I think you talked about 12 things. If we can have someone at least give us 3 of the first person to give us 3 of your tips, we can give away one of the prizes to this evening. In the chat, the first person in the chat to give us 3 of the items that Mr. LAING spoke about, you are able to win a prize. I see someone chimed in with 1. We need 3 of them. That's 2. And Mr. LAING, you'll be the judge to say if they're getting it right.
Yes, definitely. So that's 2. Good. So 1 more.
Or anyone else, if you have all 3. It's the first to 3.
Exercise to use. Well, yeah, definitely. It's, yep.
Is that 3 or that's 2.5?
Your question was for the 12 rules of practicing good nutrition, right?
Yes.
That one is 1, but that's actually for physical activity.
So that wasn't in the 12.
No.
So we did a third one that was in the 12.
Yeah, the first 2 are part of the practicing good nutrition, but they just need 1 more.
Mr. Stubbs, if you can just give us 1 more, or anyone else who wants to participate. I think Mr. Stubbs is stuck. So we will see what prize we can get for you, Mr. Stubbs. Congratulations on that. And again, we want to say thank you so much to you, Tarentee. I see Jade McQueen chiming in as well. Eating smaller but more portions.
Yes, that's 1.
And as we continue to wrap up, we'll see if anyone has any more. But again, like I said, we really, really want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been tuning in. We are now in week 2 of our Youth Masterclass series, and we have so many more masterclasses coming up, masterclass sessions. We are going straight up until Saturday. You're going to have Joseph Gaskins. You're going to have myself. I'm offering a masterclass. Our Honorable Minister, Lanisha T. Roll, is offering a class. We also have Aaron Brown. We have Shaquille Sands, Beijing Rogers. So there are no shortage of masterclass sessions for you to tune into. And we're still offering our scholarships. So if you've been following, you'll be getting the quizzes after the sessions. And we also want to say that we are at the halfway mark with our National Youth Month. You can tune into the scavenger hunt. That's happening on Saturday at 10 a.m. You can watch live on Facebook and our YouTube channels. And on Sunday is our first ever virtual youth march. So you don't want to miss that. That's at 3 p.m. and that's being hosted by DJ Overdose. And then next week, Friday, we have 2 for 1. In the morning at 9 a.m. is our virtual youth parliament, where we're going to have parliamentarians representing each constituency. But the unique part about the parliament this year is we will have honorable members who are live physically in Scotland, North Dakota, Long Island. And so they're going to be tuning in from all over the world to bring you the first ever virtual youth parliament. And so we would like for you to tune into our Facebook page as well as the parliamentary channel. And that's going to be happening at Facebook 24, our Facebook page, Division of Youth 242, Friday, October 30th at 9 a.m. And then our first ever, all of these are firsts for us, our first ever virtual National Youth Awards is taking place on Friday, October 30th in the evening at 8:30 p.m. And all of this is our National Youth Month calendar of events for a virtual celebration platform. And our theme, as you can see, is Resilient Youth, Re-Engineered for Re-Emergence, Re-Engineered for Re-Emergence. And so the theme was thought up with the Bahamian youth in mind, the spirit of the Bahamian youth, the spirit of Bahamians, which has been bestowed upon our young people, is resilience. We know that we've had many, many challenges over the years in our country, whether it's hurricanes or whether it's been economic downturns. And what happens? 100% of the time, Bahamians are able to bounce back. And so we are more than certain we are going to come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. We will be re-engineered and we will re-emerge even better than before. And so we are absolutely confident that this theme is going to inspire and invoke even more change in our young people, positive change, positive social change. And so we would like to thank everyone who is tuning in. And I see some persons are saying that they haven't received any of the quizzes. You can send us an email at celebrateteyouthbahamas@gmail.com if you have not received the quizzes, so that we can send them to you. And the link is also posted for the quiz in our in the chat. And so we'll leave the chat open for a few moments so that everyone can get it. That's Charian Cash. Valentino said he's only gotten the one for Anastasia so far. Jade McQueen, you said you haven't received. So there's the link for Anastasia's quiz. And the others will be emailed to you shortly. So if you can email celebrateteyouthbahamas@gmail.com, you will be able to receive your quizzes. Remember that these scholarships are available for persons who are age 16 to 29. And we have two $1,000 tuition scholarships for Synergy Bahamas that we are able to bestow upon a recipient. And we also have two $5,000 scholarships with Bahamas Institute of Business and Technology. You're free to go and check out their websites as well as their social media pages. So if you are the recipient, you can see what class you're going to be taking up, and you become an official, brand ambassador for us for the Division of Youth and these companies, because we would want to follow your journey after you were to win the scholarship. We also have a very exciting virtual internship with Alive for two eligible recipients. If you're interested in journalism, media, or technology, you let us know, and your name will be in the runnings for the virtual internships being offered by Alive. And as we indicated, Tarentee LAING is offering prizes as well with Cardioblast experience. So some of our winners are going to be able to redeem those prizes. And we're just excited for the partnerships that have been born out of this Youth Masterclass experience, all brought to you by Grace Management Group with Mr. Stephen Sands. And we are able to partner with these persons because of the connections and the networks we've developed over the years. So if you've been in the masterclass for some time, you would note that I have indicated over and over that this is your opportunity to network. Networking is so important. Networking is key. If Lisa Higgs doesn't know Vanessa Cash and Jade McQueen doesn't know Sharamone Simmons, this is an opportunity for you to get in that person's private chat, get in their DMs, follow them on social media, link up with these persons, so that you can begin to network if you're like-minded, if you are on the same tip, if you're positive. This is how it starts, and you never know. Lifelong friendships may be able to be sparked out of the Youth Masterclass series. And you can say, in a pandemic, you attended the first ever virtual Youth Masterclass series, and you are now lifelong friends with someone who attended the same time as you. So this is what we want to spark. And again, we want to say thank you and stay tuned for the remainder of the classes. I think that's it. Stefan, is there anything else before we close out? And with that, we want to say thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.